How's it going, everyone? Once again, my name is McKinney. Welcome back to the channel. This is 3FTV, Faith, Fitness, and Finances. Today, I'll be talking about that last one, finances. But in reality, this can apply to any one of them, right? It can apply to faith. It can apply to, fitness or finances. But from a financial perspective, we're going to talk about the most common, I would say, teaching that. I wouldn't say a lot of people teach this, but it spreads around like fire. And right, we know how the game of telephone works, right? When it comes to rumors, that something will be translated differently, and then that's what the whole world knows about you, even though it might not be true. And it's going to be the idea that you need to only surround yourself by people who are better or higher achievers than you are, people who are more successful than you are, right? We see this a lot when people say you always want to be the poorest person in your friend group, right? Because that's going to motivate you. And I'm going to say right now that is a false narrative, and that is actually very false. The reason why I'm going to say that is because if it was true, then you wouldn't even be in the friend group that you are in. Right? If you are someone that is trying to get more achievements, more success, and you have mentors around you, or you are now hanging out with high profile people, you wouldn't be in that friend group if those rich, those successful people, those business professionals, those entrepreneurs thought the exact same way you thought. Because in theory, you being the least experienced or the lowest one in the group knocks them out of being the lowest one in the group. So if they thought like that, you wouldn't be there. So now when we start to really think about it, we understand that those people actually get people around them that are less, successful than them, or have less than they do, or less fortunate, or whatever. Why is that, right? And I'll say we can learn from a lot of different things, right? We can learn from the Bible in this area, right? We know, I personally know and have experienced this, right? The scripture says, go and make disciples, right? Teach them everything I have commanded you, right? We are supposed to call people that are behind us and bring them with us and instruct them. A lot of these famous people or these successful people have mentorship programs. They are doing the same exact thing in the worldly sense, right? Which isn't wrong. It's, they don't have a biblical principle behind them, but they do have the concept and they know why it's valuable, right? If you think about it, when you are an expert in something, how do you know you're an expert in it? You can teach someone else that, right? If you can teach someone else how to knit, if you can teach someone else how to set up Facebook ads, if you can teach someone else how to, craft or sew or whatever it is, you are an expert, right? And it's the same way in life. When you can teach someone the Bible, when you can teach someone, math, you are an expert in that field. Maybe you haven't excelled to the point where you want to be, but you have mastered it in your brain and you know how to put it into action, right? And then when you can get people the results that you have gotten before, the results that you can say that putting these actions are, you are an expert. You are experienced in the field, right? So that is one reason why you shouldn't buy into this narrative. The second thing is that limits your ability to have a purpose. And we all know when you have a purpose, you put more into that purpose, you put more into that skill or that passion of yours because you are driven. When you have a shallow reason for doing something, you don't often excel or go to the top of your heights, to your peak. But having a purpose, like inspiring other people, showing other people how to make it, helping other people get out of it, or just having a purpose of being an example to the person that is right behind you, or maybe to the person that's beside you, you put in more and you make it happen, right? A lot of people drive for being successful, for being millionaires, for making it in pro sports, is that they wanted to help their family, they wanted to help their friends come out. Rappers do this, they want to help the people in their block come out as well. They keep putting out music, keep going on tours because they have people to help. That is a purpose, right? So now when you have people in your life who are less fortunate than you or behind you, now you have something driving you. The second thing too is, I don't know if you've ever raced or whatever, but when you're in first place, you never want that person behind you to catch up. When I've raced and I never wanted people behind me to pass me. That motivated me, right? That motivated me to keep pushing forward and keep that gap as close as possible, because I don't know, maybe I'll trip and twist an ankle, or maybe I'll get winded out of nowhere, or maybe they have stuff in the reserves and they get inspired, right? Maybe they see their wife on the sideline and now they're like pushing it, right? You can see how passionate I am. I got neck veins coming out, right? but maybe something happens and it could change the outcome. But if I have that gap there, I have a buffer for them to perform better and for me to perform less, right? And that just motivates me a lot more. So you can put that into this concept as well, right? One, that gap, you're there to inspire. So you keep the gap as big as possible so you can inspire people. This is why we have pacers in races. This is why people have pace cars, right? Because they keep you and tell you where you need to go, right? So if you're keeping the pace for someone else, you're inspiring them to come forward, but then you can use them to inspire you by keeping that gap up more and more, right? So not let them catch up, but to keep being that inspiration to them, right? So these are some reasons I think that you should get people in your life, right, to be there. And then the last one is you just have someone along their journey with, right? If you talk about it from a spiritual perspective, this is why the disciples were sent 2 by 2 to have someone on the journey. This is why they were commanded to go make people disciples together. They were called to change the world together, right? When you have someone that's walking alongside you, you are motivated. You can pick each other up. When you fall, they can pick you up. When they fall, you can pick them up. They can max out your strengths and weaknesses, right? And this is another reason why you need to have someone behind you as well, because a lot of entrepreneurs think like this. Elon Musk says he never tries to be this smartest person, the most savvy person in the room. Maybe he's the best leader in the room, but he's not the smartest. And the reason why is because when you are the smartest person in your business doesn't grow and usually starts falling behind, right? There's a lot of pride there. But when you hire people that are more skilled with technology than you, that are more skilled programmers, more organized than you, they fill in the gaps of your weaknesses, right? So if you combine 2 people's strengths together, right? If someone can check your blind spots and you can use that together, right? You can do a lot more for yourself, for God, fitness, for health, for finances, whatever it is, you can do a lot more, right? And this is why you should have people behind you, because maybe they just didn't have the resources you had. Maybe they are younger than you, but just because they haven't attained what you have attained doesn't mean they're not useful, right? And a lot of wealthy people, business owners, know this. They get people that are very useful. Maybe these people have a lot more passion and a lot more purpose behind them, or potential. You might not have the potential, you might have the skill, but you might not have the potential and the foresight. Maybe they do. And you can use that purpose to propel you forward. But if you just look at the fact that they're less successful than you or don't have as much as you, you would never know that, right? And you'll start to deteriorate and they'll start to catch up, right? And over time, their potential will outweigh yours, and you'll wish, like, dang, I should have used them back then. I should have used them back then. They had the potential, I didn't see it, or I didn't want to acknowledge it because I was prideful. I didn't want them to come in and outshit, like, whatever. You can use other people's potential. But if you have this concept, I need to be the dumbest, I mean, not the dumbest, I need to be the least successful person in my group, you don't get to experience that, right? So I would just say, change your mindset on this. Start actually looking at the practices that these wealthy people actually put into place, the things that they are doing, and seeing the fact that, like, if you follow these examples that you see in the mainstream, you are actually not following the same principles that these people are, right? And it's kind of ironic, and it's kind of they contrast with each other. It doesn't make any sense, right? So this is why I believe you should have people, obviously, that are in front of you that can motivate you and do the same thing that you want to do to other people, to you. But you should also have people behind you who can, help you have confidence, because you can teach them, which means you get confident in yourself and that propels you forward. They can encourage you. You can use their strengths, right? And you can help them out. It can be a symbiotic relationship, right? So do this and you'll see your life start to change. I'm doing this currently. I have a mentor that I get help from. I have different mentors, but then I'm also pulling people from behind me and teaching them as I go. But this will change a lot if you just do this one simple thing or change your mindset about this.